So I can see that some people have already joined. So good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you're joining from. Let's wait a little while more for some more people to join and then we'll start. So kindly bear with us for a few minutes. So once again, good morning, good afternoon, good evening to all of you. A very warm welcome to this digital transformation webinar today. My name is Pankaj and I am responsible for digital marketing at Stellar. Today I am joined by Ashish. Ashish is a CEO at a business incubator. He's also a mentor and a transformation expert in turning companies around. Also, he is an IT professional and has a very strong background in technology and a very deep interest in startup ecosystems. Welcome, Ashish. I'll hand over the screen to you in a minute. Before we start, let me just clarify that this is a webinar about digital marketing. So we will be more than happy about digital transformation. So we will be more than happy to field any of your questions related to that topic. If you have anything to ask us about furniture or about our products or about our operations, we will still very much encourage those questions, but we will probably get back to you separately about them. So welcome again. I am handing over the screen to Ashish.
Thank you, Pankaj.
Welcome again, Ashish. Over to you.
Okay, just a minute. Is it visible?
Hello. It is visible to me now, Ashish.
Okay, so it took time, huh?
Yeah, a few seconds of lag, I think.
Okay. Yeah, good afternoon, good morning, good evening. Thank you for joining in. And I think let's start. By the time we warm up, there would be more people joining in us. First of all, I would like to thank Stellar Global, Mr. Pawan Pamecha, Mr. Aryant Nahar, and of course, Mr. Pankaj Agarwal, all of them who have spearheaded to organize this webinar and bring it to you. The topic for today is very different from the industry as it looks on the periphery as of today, as of currently. When we are talking of technology, we are not talking of furniture, we are not talking of IT company. So why is technology being talked about for a furniture company? And I will not disappoint you. There would be a lot of connection. You will find a lot of insights. What is technology to do with furniture or maybe any other industry? So stay with us. It will be nearly about 60 minutes. We will also have question answer. There's something wrong. Okay, I'll make the connection what technology got to do with furniture and your daily work and the market trend and how you individually as well as the organization Stellar Global as well as your own organizations as partner to Stellar Global can benefit from imbibing technology in their own businesses. So I'm Ashish Jain, and I would be happy to take your questions at the end, nearly about 60 minutes after that. So happy to interact and make it more interactive during that particular time. Why is this webinar organized? What is the objective? That's what we would understand. We also would understand what's happening in the technology space, why there is such a storm, which is what we call startup, which means technology companies in the world. We also are saying Israel, US, China, India, UK, Japan, Germany. Why are these the hot spots of technology innovation? And why every government is supporting them? We also would see which Indian startups or some examples of Indian startups solving some problems not only for India but for the world, which can readily be adopted by anybody who's available or present in any part of the world. And then we will move on to specific examples of what some technologies mean in the furniture industry. And I will end it with a deep dive case study of a company in India which created technology for the strategic advantage. It has 55% market share in India, and many companies, even better products available in India, are unable to beat them. What is the reason? So with these thoughts to structure my presentation, I've given you an overview, and we'll take it that way. In case you still have any questions during this presentation, you can write on the chat box. I think chat box are enabled for everybody. You can write them there, and I can pick it also from there at the end. So objective of this interaction is how technology is disrupting conventional businesses. When I'm saying disrupting, I'm using a very hard word because most of the businesses which were in conventional industries are being left, right, and center being disrupted by the new companies which are few years old, like Google did it for many established companies. In case anybody has read Good to Great, there is already an analysis done on the US listed companies by Jim Collins, who said out of 2,000 companies over a period of 40 years, only 40 companies have survived this 40 years onslaught. That means those companies which existed 40 years back or any time during this 40 years period did not last, even if they have been top 500 Fortune 500 companies, and they did not last the 40-year period. What is making them losing their steam? And is primarily technology. Of course, there are many good decisions, bad decisions also taken, but technology is taking a center stage everywhere. And existence of business itself is being dependent on what we are using, whether we are making ourselves very thin and slim in making the business work, and in case not, how can we be upfront, be in the front, how we can create competitive advantages, may it be with technology, without technology. And moreover, let me just say that technology is not the only objective. The whole presentation we will discuss about business, and business. Technology is only a means. So the center of the fulcrum of our discussion is the business and existence of business, and why technology is very important. It used to be supporting function, how it has become a strategic function in existence of business is something which we will go through. So few trends, and these trends are after a lot of research by many big consulting companies. All the big 4 consulting companies have come to a conclusion which has been summarized here in this particular slide. Which are the business trends which we are looking at? If you are in the consumer business, speed of service becomes much more important. Today, nobody wants to wait for Amazon to deliver it in 5 days. They want it tomorrow. They want the provision or groceries in 2 hours time. that has never been such. Even if you wanted to take it from a nearby mom and pop store, and mom and pop store would deliver it if you have requested in the morning, by evening you didn't mind. But I think the patience level of the young generation is very low, and that's why people want speed of service. And because speed of service expectations are so much that it is very difficult at times to beat, and that's why there are more self-service means which have come into play. If you ever wanted to do banking, self-banking has taken a center stage. I don't remember having gone to bank branch during the COVID time. So it's been a year and a half or year and a quarter, and you don't go to a bank, still do banking, because all the options are available for doing banking, transferring funds, receiving funds, withdrawing to ATMs. So all that is available through self-help, self-service. And how banks are benefiting, because they don't have to put in that many number of people at the branch to service large number of customers. Suppose they had 30 people in a branch to service, let's say 10,000 customers, they can use those 30 people to service even 1 lakh customers. So it is profitable for them too. So to make it self-service. Another important trend is nobody wants piecemeal solutions, which means if you wanted to have a checkbook, you download a form from the bank and dispatch it or give it at the branch. That's not a good service. You had to download a form, print it all by yourself, and then give it to the branch. That doesn't make sense. It is a piecemeal service. It is not integrated. The integrated services, if you need a checkbook, request for the checkbook online, and automatically it is fulfilled and it is couriered by the bank to you at your home. That is an integrated solution. In case you want funds, you want money to be withdrawn from the bank, bank comes to you, not that you have to request a middleman. Middleman will go on your behalf to the branch and then withdraw some money, or take the bearer check and withdraw some money and then bring it to you. So important thing again in the consumer trend, B2C trend, is the solutions are becoming more integrated. Otherwise, the service level quality reduces. Another important segment is service and processes which are standardized. So if you got very good service from a particular vendor, you want consistency in the service. This consistency is very important and only possible to be given in case they are operating procedures, standard processes, and automation of those processes. So there is no leverage. Any employee can take those processes all by themselves, even if they have to service those SOPs. They would also resort to the consistent processes enabled through their own internal system. Convergence of sales and service. That means people are not interested only in sales of taking products, purchasing products. They also want service along with it. That is also a win-win situation, because manufacturers that then are not selling their products. So if you are selling, let's say, washing machine along with the AMC contract comes together, and it could also be serviced based on the personalization. You want 1-year service contract, you want with parts, without parts, whether you want same day service attendance or next day business service attendance. All these personalizations are expected being delivered, because that is what the expectation of the market and new generation is. Another important trend in the service is you need convenient service delivery option. You don't say that, okay, I would, as I mentioned, same day delivery, same day service, next day service, few hours service, 2 hours grocery delivery. All these are fulfillment options and convenience based on the customer, because consumer is also busy. It is not that consumers are taking it for granted that I have enough time. Depending on your availability, you give it any time as you wish. It's not like that. So they are dictating terms as well. It is a demand side driven market economy rather than supply side driven market economy. Same goes in the furniture industry. There has to be distinguished and differentiating factors in the service as well as sales of your products. People have options. People need to choose those options. I will also take some examples how differentiations are being created. Even at Stellar Global, certain options or differentiations have been created. So I'll give some examples there. But important thing is people want variety, self-service, and convenience. If you talk of organizations, how are they behaving? The trend in the B2B segment is you have to be brand intensive. You've got to create your brands. So there have to be some investment in brand building, which gives you long-term results.
Ashish, sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry, Ashish, but I think our screen is still stuck on the agenda page.
No, but I have already moved on to the emerging business trends.
So I don't think we can. The rest of the people can see that. Would you mind
I've just refreshed.
sharing it?
Just refreshed.
Okay. Thanks, Ashish. We're good to go.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry.
In the organizational trends, we are seeing brand intensiveness. When we are saying brand intensiveness, that means even white label are being created as a brand. So everybody is interested in creating their own brands. Big brands are making reinforcements of their brands. So in case you are not visible, you're not selling. That is the basic motto, and that is also going to intensify in the future, because more and more new generation is getting brand conscious, and with this trend people need to put a lot of impetus on creating their brand, also preserve their brand by being very active on the social media in case there is a negative comment and addressing them. So it becomes very proactive brand building exercise, which at times is costly, but it also pays multiple times than the investment made in that particular brand building exercise. Another important trend, organizational trend, is transparency and visibility. I'll also give certain examples here when we are saying transparency and visibility. Let me give an example of Walmart. If Walmart is engaging with a vendor, maybe Walmart has a vendor in India and they are Walmart is procuring certain shirts from the vendor in India. They are giving the vendor the visibility of the 2000 shirts which they delivered to Walmart, and they are giving the visibility of which stores these shirts were sent and what is the trend of their being sold at those stores. And as soon as those 2000 shirts reaches the threshold limit, which has already been predefined, let's say 200, there is an automatic purchase order generated for the vendor to again send or create the visibility of making arrangements and get into a process of creating another 2,000 shirts. So that visibility always help the vendor also to earmark shorter delivery time, because that visibility is not a daily, not a one-time activity in once in a month. It is available every day, and vendor is geared up to even procure raw material based on such visibility. Continuous innovation and employee retention. In fact, it is often said, in case you lose an employee, you generally pay twice the salary of that lost employee in the new employee, because hiring cost, training cost, making him up to mark cost you at least twice the lost employee cost. And retention is becoming a new trend. How you retain and how the organizational culture becomes in your organization becomes another organizational trend. But this has nothing to do with the technology, but here are the trends which are basically business side trends, and how these can be achieved I am going to discuss in the next slides. Another important parameter and the trend is enterprise technology trend. We discussed in the consumer trend, the integrated solution. Similarly, the enterprise technology trends also have connected corporations. These days, corporations have the liberty of having employees from anywhere in the world, whichever country they can get the help from. With gig economy much in prevalence, employees can join in from any part of the world. So connected cooperation is very much need of the hour. In fact, I was pleased to see even Stellar Global has taken certain initiatives, which I'm going to discuss what means connected cooperation for them. Convergence of voice, data, video. We already have seen that Google is a lot of text-based search. More and more people are resorting to voice-based search. So they are just putting their voice in Siri or Google. Yeah. So if you give a command on your Apple smartphone or Android smartphone, voice commands are taken, and those voice commands are so intelligent these days. First of all, the dialect, the modulation, the language, all are being factored, or it's not 100% accurate, but still being worked upon. A lot of commands are accurately being translated, and they are converting. Just see those who are illiterate, who are unable to read and write, but they know how to talk. That means that this technology of voice-based commands is opening up adoption of all the products which are technology products for them too. And that's a very sizable population around the world. Not only in India, of course, it is very big in India, but it is also in many parts of the world, those people who are unable to read or write. Multi-channel integration, we have talked about. Computer telephony is another area where it is working very well, because telecom companies are integrated. You have database telephony also taking place much easily. These integration and convergence of multiple just think of WhatsApp workflow and automation workflow of taking an order on WhatsApp today without investing system. This WhatsApp based telephony, IP based connectivity, connected solution, but also the specific product at whatever prices you can intimate using WhatsApp. That's a beautiful example of new wave of multi-channel integration into your supply chain. So in a nutshell, they are from the business perspective, effectiveness of your business, efficiency of your business, and integration of your business. These integration of value chain of your business are the key trends for making you succeed faster. Let me excite you. So, Pankaj, I have changed the slide. Is it changed at your end? You're on mute.
Ashish, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
So it has changed for me. Let me just check with the
Has it changed?
For me, it has.
Okay.
Just check.
So I'll continue. For future application.
Yes, Ashish, it has for everybody. Thank you. We can move on.
Fine. So let me excite you with certain examples what the future probably going to look like. We would have autonomous trains and planes. Trains we already have. In Delhi also we have a train which is metro train which works autonomously. There is a control room where there are drivers or controllers who are sitting there like ATS, air traffic controller. Similarly, trains are being monitored and controlled through the central control room instead of drivers sitting in the train. Those metro trains. Planes, autonomous planes, looks very frightening, but that's also being a possibility. Maybe not in near future, but autonomous reality in certain pockets where we have that means in the closed compounds, Google closed compound, Facebook closed compounds. This has already been working. Certain examples of Stanford making an autonomous car also taking place. So autonomous cars, autonomous trains, planes, of course, drones, robots. There are many things which will come all by themselves. That means we are going to see being replaced by autonomous things. Anybody who is not doing value addition, either it is a thinking process or a new process, will likely to be replaced by robotic or automated workflows or the components which are robots or drones. We can also in very near future, in fact in India, day before yesterday, it was given an approval for 20 such companies to even listen and pizzas through drone. So we also can, and these are non-line of sight. That means you don't need to see where the drone is going. It can be beyond your line of sight. You can control it autonomously using GIS location, and it would be delivering your medicine or pizza in your balcony or roof or at the ground level of your house. So those are the future applications which we are going to look at in very soon in some geographies, maybe in distant future in some other. Dialogue-based servicing, as I mentioned, search is becoming more a dialogue-based search. So more and more people are going to avail the service. Artificial intelligence doctor. There are already doctors and intelligence systems which are available to counsel pre-treatment and post-treatment cancer patients. Systems are already available. I am privy to one such company. During the phase of treatment, those are not even if they are trauma, which also needs to be handled, emotional quotient needs to be handled. Those robots help talking to the patient's relative or the ward or the caretaker and helping them with a lot of questions, which again, this is a repetitive exercise. Many patients have same questions and they are being answered. So these are some of the examples which I mentioned. Of course, we can also see many more examples of smart cities where there are no traffic lights. Even if there are traffic lights, they are synchronized. We would have last mile connectivity. As soon as you come from one transportation mode, you would know which is a connected transport mode back to your home. That means if you have to go from office to the public transport, from public transport to the last mile, and from last mile to your home, all three can be connected. You can also change your journey and you would get the new schedule automatically available. You also can using GPS, you can also track your transportation trucks which is already available. You can also have taken care of the identified exigencies in case there is a transportation issue. Those exigencies can also be resolved automatically without human intervention. So suppose truck meets with an accident, automatically there are sensors put it into the truck, and based on the capacity of the truck, a new truck intimated or new control room is intimated to send a new truck at the location where it got met with an accident. Truck is taking care of the truck met with an accident is one thing. Second is the goods transportation changed to the new truck is another, which is taken care automatically. These are some of the other examples of the Indian startups where they are solving lot of problems which we have in India. In fact, many times people say we have a lot of problems in India or China, but I feel in case you go to a place where there are no challenges, it becomes quite monotonous. So we have a lot of opportunities to solve. And when we are solving India or China, when we are solving certain problems, we are solving them inexpensively. That means they become so much a hit around the world because they are possibly inexpensive and possible to be affordable by all the people in the world. So that means any technology, any solutions which are being created in India are also applicable for the world. I'll take and explain few examples here. One is a natural language processing. Natural language processing is when we are saying English as a language and it needs to do some automated work on that natural language, which is English. Can this be automated? For example, there's a book which has about 200 pages and it is a legal book. Can this legal book of 200 pages be concised in 10 pages, 5 pages, or 1 page summary? It is possible. I know myself this particular technology exists. It exists to the tune of 93% accuracy, and it is for the legal documents. It is available. You can be assured that it is also available definitely for many other applications if it is available for legal. So if lawyers needs to use long case histories to process and find out the gist, natural language processing engines are available. There are technology companies who are making use of NLP and creating summaries of the books. Even Audible, even in short, they are processing companies and summaries for those who don't have time to listen to the whole book. That's new to see in India for their legal document. Marketing is definitely touching your industry. When we are saying marketing personalization, if you have, let's say, n number of products, let's say 100 products, out of 100 products, would you give only these 100 products, or can somebody make the changes? So I remember one CEO of a big company, he wanted a mug Mercedes, and Mercedes comes in different configuration. As soon as you choose the exterior color, interior color options come. When the CEO chose black color Mercedes, he didn't have an option of black color interior clothing on the seats. It was only available as a font. So he's asked whether black interior, black exterior possible. So these are the kind of marketing personalizations which are possible in case you are asking the inputs from the customer. Similarly, in case you chairs and you have back of the chair, bottom of the chair, the body of the thing remains black. Can you change the color suiting your surrounding and the ambience of the place where you want to keep these chairs? Of course, you won't like to keep the inventory of all the color combinations which are possible. But in case the personalization options are given, then you already create the orders on demand based on the customer's order. I'm sure Stellar Global must also have been doing it, because I saw multiple colors of the chairs available there. Then e-commerce. E-commerce, everybody knows that Amazon and every country has their own variant of local competition to e-commerce. In India, it is Flipkart, Snapdeal, many other. There are also niche market e-commerce players available. When it comes to e-commerce, can e-commerce be available for furniture? So I got to know that, of course, in furniture industry, touch and feel is a big factor in influencing the decision to purchase or not to purchase. So can that mean that e-commerce will not be available for furniture? I feel there are possibilities, and what these possibilities, and we are discussing the whole possibility game plan here. So what possibilities are available in the e-commerce for furniture are, in case you have the product catalog and you have the product design names. So this is this is executive, this is chairman, or whatever the chair names, and then you say these are the model numbers. And in case somebody has already purchased from your company a particular chair and he felt he had a pleasurable experience, then if the experience has been pleasurable, excuse me, then it is likely that the same chair will need to be ordered. And if it is need to be ordered again, will the person come to the showroom again to have a touch and feel, or it can be ordered through online? I think it can be done online. So that means the second time customer can use your e-commerce in case touch and feel becomes very important in the first case. once the person has already been very uh, satisfied with the product, and he recommends it to his relatives, friends, and even on social media, it is likely that that product will also be sold without touch and feel. That is already happening on Amazon. There are many products which we have never tried. In case you want to recommend a particular chair or a particular sofa, this social media is a very potent and very potential, very important example of recommendation engine. People also look to their close relatives, even on social media, their relatives, if they recommend a particular chair or a sofa or any feel. But this is all B2C. How about B2B? When you as a buyer on bulk quantity need to purchase chairs in bulk, and you are so much concerned about how much weight it can take, what is the pressure it can take, what is the fabric a, a particular piece of furniture already has. In case you know the technical details, and technical details are mentioned on the product catalog on the e-commerce site, since you have much more experience, you would easily sense whether this chair is good for you, or this piece of furniture is good for you or not good for you. And with those specification, e-commerce is even better for B2B. So there are a lot of many companies like Pepperfry and a few others are already doing this. I think this is also opening up for e-commerce in furniture industry in future. Let me give you certain examples which are exclusively from the furniture industry. So this chair has been designed all on computer. The back, the bottom, the handles, the spine, the body type, contours of the wheels. Once it is designed, it is 3D printed.
Ashish,
Yeah.
why don't you take a little break? I think you're feeling a little unwell. Should we ask the audience if they have any questions in the meantime while you take a little break?
Okay.
So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being with us again. And as you can see, Ashish needs some water. So, if you have any questions, please do feel free to ask in the Q&A box that you can see on your screens, and we'll be more than happy to answer your questions. So, I am still waiting for any questions from the audience.
Shall I go ahead, Pankaj? If
Yes,
there are no questions?
you're comfortable. Go ahead.
Yeah, sure. Thank you. Okay, this is this is a chair which is created using computer design or CAD design. Same design was inputted into the machine, CNC machine or the 3D printer machine with using which samples are created. So of course, these are meant for sampling, but using this method for sampling also, you can create many flexible samples, multiple combinations of samples. This is how the different pieces got created and this is how it got assembled. So this is an example of how the design, furniture design has been used or created using digital means, totally digital means. That means there are technologies being used for business efficiency, customer delight, and also for increasing the margins, so horizontal expansion. When we need to create a new style, this new style we probably can use different material, we can integrate different functions, and core design can remain the same. We can integrate new features, and many times the 3D image of the same product can be shown to the customer instead of to and fro sending samples of different variants, and that inexpensively gets a buy-in on the 3 or 4 options, few options out of the many options which can be provided to the customer, and that way the process becomes faster because number of samples are not being created and sent physically. From vast number of samples, few samples, shortlisting process was all digital, and then few samples were created using 3D printing or digital processes, and then those prototypes were sent to the customer for approval. This process, this whole exercise takes much faster, and it also gives many options to the customer. So this whole process of furniture design is already being used. It is also being used at Stellar. Once this digital design is available, you also are in a position to find out what is going to be the likely cost of material, because the mathematical model of digitized products is easy. So once you know what is going to be the cost of material in coming up with such a product, which got approval from the customer, you can accurately compute your costs. And when you compute your cost accurately, you can be very competitive in your marketing. It is also faster. So of course, that also is another benefit. Let me give you another example, which is called product configuration. So for e-commerce sites, shopping and visualization is very important, and you need to have variants. Just see this small video. I'll run it again. So what are the few things which we saw here? First of all, the visualization and the product digitization helped us in making it visibly appealing against different backgrounds. Suppose you give an option for the customer, a B2B customer or a B2C customer, to upload his surrounding, the background picture, the color. Then how would the new furniture piece look like in that particular room is the 3D visualization, which is very much possible. And that way, what you would have as a salesperson in the physical setting shown to the customer is being done automatically multiple times 24/7 by the digital assistant, which is making it automatic. It is making it so easy for self-service delivery. You also can choose combinations, whatever combinations are available of the Sunmica on the sideboards, side tables, background tables, furniture finishing, all these, whichever options are available, you can show, and customer can have a visualization and then order how would it look like, instead of sending the multiple variety of samples before they decide. It is also a digital catalog. In case digital catalog needs to be created, let's say on an e-commerce website or a B2B organization website, digital catalogs can be made interactive. Customers can give feedback by choosing the options, making a combination of what looks like and saving certain options for their future review. And by saving, you as a vendor, you as a business are likely to get what the insights are, what is the liking of the customer, because all this data is being saved digitally somewhere. Based on such trends, you can get to know more and more customers are saving an option, and that means this is likely to be a hot combination of color, product design, and finish option for the furniture, and that is the furniture you can make in large quantity. So and customers are giving you such insights. Now, I've talked about various technologies, what Indian startups are doing, what technology space is hot these days, some examples relating to the furniture industry. Let me just also bring you how Stellar has adopted technology fast during the 15 months time of the COVID. So pre-COVID, Stellar has been participating in international trade fairs and getting to understand and meet customers. And they also have been bringing and inviting customers to their factory in China. But due to COVID, the travel movement absolutely stopped, and this was not becoming possible. And what option they did have? One option was they would just wait for this COVID wave to subside and then do the business. But that's not the option which Stellar chose, and they did many things. They did, first of all, digital technology for better customer experiences. Some of these digital technologies are for creating a product catalog, which was digital catalog, marking the numbers and models for their products, and using zoom in and zoom out on the products using Prezi as a software. And that gave a lot of insights to the customer, even without having the physical product with them. Also, there were lot of usage of virtual meetings. The whole team did meetings with the customers, and that was reinforced because physical meetings were not possible, but talking was important, and that's how this was also taken very much in prominence. Another important thing, people are in the B2B setting also need to know the background of the vendor or background of the partner. So they need to visit their showrooms as well as factories. And again, the travel was a limitation. How was this shown? This is a snapshot of a showroom. This is a snapshot of a factory. Snapshot of the factory. The testing is being done on the chairs, which all these videos were created. These videos are already on the website of Stellar. That gives a lot of confidence to potential buyers, the new customers, existing customers, that they have been adopting various technology means in ensuring that quality comes out good at the end. This is a factory in China. Another important angle was the team was dispersed in multiple geographies and you can't travel. So there was a need for one fact of truth which anybody, anywhere, in whichever time zone needs to have just the same. And CRM, which is customer relationship management software adopted by Stellar, was good. It was location independent, a single point of truth for anybody looking at all the orders, all the potential inquiries, all the service obligations, all the production statuses. Everybody was at par with the same status anywhere in the world, which also helped people to commit accurately without overdoing the commitments. So this also helped them with this, with the digitization exercise of a better service delivery to the customers. Even automated PIs were sent, performa invoices, and the lot of effort made on digital marketing. Multiple channels were created. This is a website, refurbished website. This is a Facebook page with a lot of detailing on each product so that people can see it even if they are away. Instagram promotions so that they are able to reach and communicate the message to their potential customers. In LinkedIn pages and all. So that is basically all what I wanted to brief on the technology front, but I also have another deep dive case, which is Asian Paints company in India, and just wanted to take you deep dive into this company, how it transformed itself and created a moat. Moat is how it created something which is not achievable by anybody in their competition. What did they do? So Asian Paints is the only business around the world since 1967 which has been getting 20% revenue growth year on year. That means since 67, about 50 years, 5 decades, if any company is getting revenue growth of 20%, it is a huge plus for some key factors which we need to know. It is not easy. Their PBT margin is 30%, which is very healthy. Market industry average is 15%. Promoters are worth $12 billion, and minority shareholders are also $10 billion. Market share is 55%, and next competitor, which is Berger Paint, is at 20%. So what is making Asian Paints doing what others are unable to do? So I'll tell you the story. How did it go? If the share price is increasing, see, this is the trend of the share price. They are beating all calculations, and there is one basic premise which they decided in 1969. That is what they are capitalizing on year after year. In 1969, their founder Champak Lal Choksi, he changed the game of distribution. So in the paint business, there are 3 players. One is the distributor, wholesaler, and dealer. And when these people deliver to the end customer, the margin which the production company makes is nearly about 60%, because 40% is for the channel. Champaklal Chokshi in 1969 thought that he would sell directly to the dealer, but dealer protested because they said in case company sells to the dealer would have to stock more goods. Moreover, they also won't have the luxury of credits, and to cater to such demand, they said, okay, we would have our warehouses where this would be picked up and delivered. We would deliver it 4 times a day. Every 3 hours there would be a van delivering to the dealer, thereby no need to keep the inventory for long. Every 3 hours, if something is being replenished, there is no need to keep quite a big space for keeping the inventory. Moreover, you are not keeping your inventory hold up and your cash hold up because of very less lead time of selling. Since they were doing 4 times a day, 3 hours, every 3 hour leave for 7 days a week, that means 28 times a week. Competitor has been doing it only twice a week. That was a big advantage for them, because in that case they created about 7,000 dealers all by themselves. They replenished the inventory 4 times a day, nearly about 2.5 to 3 lakh times they interacted and got to know what purchases are being made at which particular location. So if I'm talking of Delhi, I'm sitting in Delhi right now. So if Delhi distributor or Delhi place, a place near inside Delhi, in South Delhi, a dealer which is near AIIMS, he has a specific requirement. Customers are coming from the proximity to him. What does he need? At least dealer would not know. Maybe area sales manager would know, but area sales manager also would not be able to know for 120 area dealers which he is catering to. So these people resorted to a system of capturing the data and putting it into the computer, and this computer system would churn out predictions that this dealer is likely to have this requirement. After 20 years of having such data, of course, that was a technology much ahead of its time. Today, you don't need to wait for 20 years. That can be created in 2 years. This 20 years of data helped them in forecasting 97% accuracy what the dealer would need. And that is what they would take to the dealer, and dealer would sell in the next 3 hours. That is the beauty of the system which they created, and no competition has been able to create and match that. And that's why Asian Paints does have 50%, 55% market share. Now, this doesn't end there. As I mentioned, 40% is in the distribution. Even if the costs are factored, 97% of the revenue goes to the manufacturer, in this case Asian Paint, 3% for the dealer. But if you account for about 10% of the margin as cost, you still have given only 13% against market average of 40%. So the margin percentage for Asian Paints has been 40%, Berger Paints at 25 to 27%, and AkzoNobel, which has the best quality paint in India, has margin of 16%. And with this margin, they are improving their margin every day, because they have the control over the whole supply chain, every nook and corner, and they are also guiding their dealer what to purchase, which pack size, which tin size, what color, which base color, what paint category, everything they have been telling to their dealer, and dealer is not getting better results than what Asian Paints is suggesting to them. Another important factor: raw material to finish cycle, working capital cycle for Asian Paints is 8 days. For Berger Paints, it is 45 days. For AkzoNobel, it is 105 days. Overall, all this moat has been created by creating a technology powerhouse of storing the data and accumulating that data to come up with such calculations, such insights. Today we call it artificial intelligence, and those artificial intelligence based systems can be created to create strategic advantage for the companies. That's it for me right now. I would like to take the questions if you have.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Ashish.
Thank you, Ashish.
As a matter of fact, we do have one of the most important ones that I can see here is from a gentleman called Ashok, who asks us that customers first ask for a sample approval before actually placing an order. So how do you deal with that with digital?
Right. So when we are talking of B2B, of course, the end game is very different. You might have to cater to those samples physically as it continues. But as the confidence comes, as B2B customers are much more mature, they are much more knowledgeable about the products being used. In case you tell that this is the name of the material of the cloth or the nylon and the fabric being used, they would get to know what exactly is the specification being talked about. So sampling currently, because this is a trend, this is the norm in the industry, it is likely to change. Somebody will disrupt. If you don't disrupt, somebody will disrupt. Like in e-commerce, if you have a product, you have never tested it, you intend to test it, and it is not necessarily for B2C, it is also being happening for B2B. Soon it will happen. Once you clearly and visibly, transparently provide the material, grade, types, everything is visible, B2B customers are much more mature and knowledgeable, so they would and they would not insist over a period of time. Of course, the behavioral habit also will take time to change, but over a period of time that will subside. That need will subside.
Thank you. Thank you, Ashish. Thank you for your answer. We also have a couple of questions from various people about how digital marketing can be used in related to the furniture industry and related to the B2B industry in particular. So, I mean, that's a massive topic. I mean, that probably is the question of an entire academic course over a period of 1 year. I cannot answer that in a brief format like this, but all I will go to say is that there is no difference between digital marketing or marketing in general. Whatever we do in marketing, what do we do? We start with understanding a customer's needs. We then go on to develop a product or a service which matches those needs. We then go on to try and deliver that product efficiently at the right price, at the right time, at the right place. There is no difference in digital. That's exactly what you do. You will use digital channels, maybe like social media, like forums, questionnaires, try and get to understand what the customer needs, irrespective of whether your customer is the government. Your customer can be a corporate, it can be a B2B, it can be a reseller, it can be an individual. Understanding what the customer needs, converting that into reality, and making sure that it is delivered efficiently. That is all. That's what we do. That's all from my side. And any further questions, we are still happy to answer, or we can call it a day. Uh, Ashish, any parting words from your side, please?
Uh, I've been looking at certain questions. I think the questions, the flow of the questions look like that we are not, uh, uh, or maybe there are certain e-commerce websites in India as well as abroad, which are also selling furniture. But important thing is right now it is on the testing phase. People are only selling probably less than 1%, 2% to the of the population in the local area through that website. But when it comes to 30% of the population sourcing it from website, suppose IKEA comes up tomorrow with an online store. Anybody who has visited IKEA would be assured of the quality of product they want. They sourced from there. And in case that brand building has already happened, because that's also a point I touched upon, that once you have the brand built, then people will more and more come without having the look and feel, touch and feel of the product. They would trust the website also, which is non-personalized way of purchasing once you have the brand, and that is going to increase from probably 1% or under 1% to 30%. Those are the estimates people are saying in India and some other Latin American countries. So why not be part of it? So this is only one example of digital used in e-commerce, but there are many such examples where furniture, even design, or many other examples which are also left out, not given in this presentation today. But there are many examples of innovation taking place, and you can imbibe that. So basic idea is innovation is happening. You are subject matter expert in your industry. Why not look at it from the fresh glance and have some inhibitions left out and adopt it fast, so that those who are trying to disrupt your industry might as well you do it first.
Absolutely, Ashish. We have one more question here, which is quite interesting. It goes to say how effective digital marketing is for government organizations. Uh, that's a tough question, but the answer to this, maybe a year back or 2 years back, would have been very different from what it would be today. Uh, it is not just the COVID pandemic that has changed things. The government has been going digital step by step for the past many years now. The COVID pandemic has only accelerated this. Uh, but still, the way the government works in India, at least, is that it is a little bit slow and a little bit on the fence when it comes to digital technologies. Uh, so a lot of people who are on the ground actually dealing with the government will feel that there is actually no difference. But I feel there is. There is, at least the good thing that I see is that a lot of the people in the government buying space are already on digital. Virtually everybody is on social media. Everybody is on social media, whether they are on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, depending on who they are, they would be somewhere. All these digital channels, they give you the capability to target people by their interests and by what they search for. So if I am a person in the government, maybe I'm looking at giving a tender for some construction, I would be searching on the net. I would be clicking when I see something interesting happen on Facebook. I would be looking at an Instagram post of somebody who does something like that. And therefore, I am an in market audience. And digital does give you the capability to reach that in market audience, whether it is government or anybody else. That's my answer, please. So we have already crossed our time for this. Ashish, any last question?
There is a question which is a good question. How can you, Ashok has asked this, how can we develop customer rapport with our products and services? I presume this is in the digital context when we are unable to meet. I think customer rapport is a constant engagement. Talking to them is important. If you meet them, the rapport is much faster. But in case you are unable to meet because of COVID, which they also understand that you are unable to go there and meet, engagement, talking to them makes that gap filled. That's the only thing. Of course, there are different means you got to adopt. It's not going to help with the technology. Customer repo needs to be personalized. You got to meet, talk. That's the only solution. That's it from me, Pankaj. In case there are no questions, we can call it a day.
Yes, Ashish. Actually, there is one last question from a gentleman, Prakash Rangwani. Let me just try and answer that. He asks, as you said in furniture business, B2C customers want to have touch and feel. Then do you think a virtual showroom can work best if we can use technology, but using AI? A very intelligent question and a very, very relevant question in today. You will find not just for B2B, but surely also for B2C, customers will not be able to come to us and we need to take our showroom, our factory to the customers. Uh, at Stellar, we have already taken a first step. It's a small tentative first step, but we have already set up a virtual factory tour and a virtual showroom tour, which is there on our website, on our homepage. We keep advertising that, we keep sharing it with customers. But this can become much, much better. And we have, I can say, Touchwood, just taken that first step on that journey. We are going there, Prakash. And with this, I will have to call it a day. Thank you, everyone who have been here. Thank you so much, Ashish, for being here today with us.
Pleasure.
Have a good day, everyone.
Thank you.